Hey, how's it going? So I've just landed in an obscure airport in Sweden called Växjö Småland.
Come again?
Airport. I'm here for about 6 hours. It's the best way to travel. If you've got a bit of time on your hands, pick random destinations if you're struggling to find a cheap ticket home, and you can end up in these obscure little airports. And I thought rather than paying £400 to get back from Spain to UK because it's a bank holiday weekend, I thought I'm going to go see if I can get on this bus actually. I hear it's about to leave. Someone said it's going to leave in about a couple of minutes. So I'm going to get on this bus and go into town, see what we see. I don't know where I was running. These buses leave every 20 minutes though, but the nice thing is, it's such a small little town. I arrived in the airport, got myself a coffee, you can get unlimited refills of coffees, quick charge of the phone, because my phone was dead having flown in from Spain. Using the phone the entire flight kind of drains it out a little bit. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to carry my big bag around with me, or hand luggage bag, it's going to be a bit heavy. So I asked Camilla, is it Camilla? Camilla, thank you Camilla. I asked her in the airport if she could look after my bag, and the information desk said, yeah, no problem. Well, I didn't even ask her that. I said, is there anywhere to put my bag? And she said, oh, I can look after it. So this tiny little airport decided to look after my bag. That wouldn't happen in England, I tell you. That definitely wouldn't happen in England. They'd grunt at you and they'd probably tell you to bugger off. But here's Swedish hospitality. And here we've got the bus drivers from Kosovo. He came here 15 years ago and we were having a little bit of a chat. So the bus is going to leave in about 5 minutes. So this little bus is going to take me to Växjö. The bus driver just told me how to pronounce the name of what I thought was Växjö, but it's Växjö.
It's all in how you say it.
The bus will cost me 30 kronas to get to the centre of Växjö. I might be the only tourist checking out this place. But you're going to be joining me, so I'm excited. Well, once again, thank you very much for joining me in another one of my videos. I am Alex and I am the Wandering Englishman. If this is your first time here, thank you for giving this video a chance. Do bear with me, there's lots to come and lots to experience. In this video, I take in the sights and sounds of Växjö, just under 6 hours, saving myself $500 in the process because I was needing to fly back from Alicante in Spain to London. The cheapest one-way ticket on the day was $500, so I opted to fly into Växjö instead of flying direct to London. And I'm glad I did, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to make this video for you. So as you'd expect, as you approach the outskirts of Växjö, mostly car showrooms and big shopping malls. Perfect place to come if you want a Peugeot, a Citroen, or a Subaru. Just inside, thank you very much. Bye-bye. So I opted to get off a couple of stops early because this stop is called Vikingagatan. And I thought, why not? Let's stroll the remainder. I think we're past the industrial part, so we're going to check out Vikingagatan.
What cities and gods are over there?
Which sounds like Viking. Is it Viking Garden? Maybe. Explore this amazing little town.
You and I have seen nothing yet.
Super trooper beams are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue.
You definitely know you're in Scandinavia when the houses look like this. This is one thing I've kind of missed about not being in Scandinavia. I used to live in Norway and many of the houses would look like this. Everything was sort of nicely done. Old school but firm houses. Beautiful design, the Scandinavians. I think about this town. It's famous for the fact that it's got a museum dedicated to emigrants. Not immigrants, but emigrants. Emigrants are the people that left Sweden to go to America, seek a sort of a better life. I'm sure some of those Swedes that left are probably really wondering, maybe they made the wrong decision, but if they were still alive, But their ancestors might be wondering when they've come back to Sweden, they think Sweden isn't so bad actually. Sweden is actually a really nice place. But obviously when the emigrants left Sweden and they moved to America in the sort of 18th century, and a lot of them they went seeking opportunity, they went seeking out land, they went seeking out a better life for themselves. Life in Europe at that stage was pretty harsh. Look at these beautiful houses, really nice. My fear is as I explore this city, let's get across this roundabout. I think that's 1 kilometre maybe. I think they think in kilometres over here. 1 kilometre to the centre. My fear is as I explore this city, this being a Sunday, I don't think some of the museums will be open, but maybe they will be. But history here, it dates back to the Stone Age. Obviously the Vikings were here, so there's Viking relics that can be found. If certain people dig up their gardens or did a bit of archaeological digging, you might find ancient Viking settlements around here. They found Stone Age settlements around here. So there's always been people here for thousands of years. And the people have obviously changed over the years.
I'm very curious about England.
By the looks of the houses on the approach here, it seems Växjö, or Växjö, I think it's Växjö. The people are doing quite well for themselves. One of the ways I like travelling is using the website and app Skyscanner. Depending on where I am, I will click, for example, if I'm in London, I'll just say London and then destination anywhere or everywhere. And then you can pick a date, but I think if you can be a bit more flexible, if you can pick a month, you say, well, like, I can go in June sometime. So you pick the month of June and you say London to anywhere. What then happens is it will give you a selection of destinations, and it'll probably show you a load of destinations. It'll probably cost between £5 and £20, the first few anyway. Pick a destination you've never been to. I guarantee you'll always be in for a bit of a surprise. And then the next thing you can do, which is how I got here, is when you get to that destination, you go from that destination to anywhere and see where it takes you. And you can keep repeating that. Now sometimes you're going to get a bit stuck. You'll be surprised at where you'll get. There was a guy I knew that I think he managed to get all the way to Nepal by doing that technique. And he spent, because he was taking all these cheap flights, I think he spent under £150 to get to Nepal, if you can believe it. There's always a way. And just for example, to get back from Spain to London, taking in this place, the difference in price is £400 single travelling today, or what did I spend? £25 for 2 tickets, one to Växjö, Alicante to Växjö, and one Växjö to London. Some women I've dated in the past think I'm a little bit weird.
Well, imagine my shock.
I seem to have a fondness for visiting graveyards. And this is one of those graveyards which I'm already fond of. This is a beautiful graveyard. I'm sure on the fact that it's such a beautiful blue sky day that it looks even nicer. But you get to know something about a people by studying their graveyards. Obviously, their neighbours in Norway, they tend to opt for the obelisks when it comes to remembering the past. Whereas in Sweden, they've gone for the more sort of traditional gravestones, slightly different from what you would probably get in the UK, but certainly not that different. We've got gravestones and we've got crosses. And you can see there's some obelisks over here. But this one over here, I mean, this looks like some sort of Viking. I think it's okay to stand on this bit here. You can walk around so you're not desecrating the grave sites. But let's have a look at this. This is beautiful. This is Rector Heleve Godekti Hall. Wow. Clearly someone important maybe. Maybe they were significantly important to this town, I'm not sure. Or they just fancied a massive gravestone to remember them. And everything's in good order here. There's no alcoholics littering the graveyard. There's no dog poop littering the place. There's no cans of Coke or sweet wrappers or crisp packets. It's generally just a very well-ordered, beautiful graveyard with gravestones dating back to the 19th century from what I can see. 1887 here. There's an obelisk. See, think about all those people that come to Växjö Airport and they don't come and look at all these graveyards, and they don't get to appreciate Klaus Alma's and the Alma family gravesite. Tora, Hilma, Klaus or Klaus. Look at this tree. Wow. I don't think I'm being insensitive by being here, as long as you respect the people and you keep your voice down when you see other people. There's a little old lady here, obviously sort of tending to her, maybe one of her loved ones. I'll keep my voice down now as I can see one more person. Doing? I think he likes. I don't think he wants me to be here. It's like a Hitchcock movie. He's like. Well, okay, he's settled down now. But if there was more than one, that would have been a Hitchcock movie. I think it's because I was filming him. Maybe he's the reincarnation of one of these people, and he thinks maybe this is not the right place to be doing a bit of filming. But I think if I didn't, I wouldn't be capturing the beauty, and I wouldn't be capturing the funness of that seagull. Or maybe he's just angry that maybe I don't know. Who knows? What is this? This is like a bell tower over here. Wow, this is beautiful. I don't know if this harks back to the sort of the days of the Vikings, or this is just something that I've never seen anything like it. I think over here is the main train station. Probably you could head there and get yourself to anywhere in Sweden, and you could probably get to Copenhagen from here. Copenhagen is just sort of southwest of here. I think that's one of the reasons people use this airport, is to get to Copenhagen. Wow. In trying to understand the significance of this bell tower, I just went online just to try and understand this city, having done no research until I got here. But Växjö has a population of just shy of 100,000 at the latest count back in 2021. But because the demographics of this city is changing greatly, I'm sure it's going to surpass 100,000 any day now. And who knows, after this video, you guys are going to be knocking down the city walls, asking to emigrate here to replace the Swedes that once left 200 plus years ago. The city also claims, as I'm walking around the city also claims to be the greenest city in the world. It's a sort of self-titled title, the fact that it aims to be fossil free by 2030. I discovered that the bus that I was on runs on food waste. Doesn't run on diesel or petrol, it just runs on food waste. So I presume that's probably oil, I guess, unless it's sort of Back to the Future 2 style. Marty! Where he's sticking cans of Coke and banana skins inside the bus.
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Doc?
And then speaking of the bus, here's one of these food waste buses. I'll be honest, it doesn't smell of anything. Maybe you can see if it's got any exhaust. I don't know. Oh, we're now at the bus station. So this is the bus station that connects to the train station. Everything's very efficient around here. But let's continue looking. See what else we see. I guess on this beautiful day we're probably not going to see many Swedes out and about in the city, because generally I noticed as we were on the bus, people tend to go to the lakes when you've got beautiful sunshine. Why would you hang around the city centre unlike this Englishman?
Now, talking of lakes, the city's name is believed to be constructed from the words Vaj for road and Sjöl for lake, meaning the road over the frozen Växjö lake. Farmers used to use it in the winter to get to the marketplace, which later became the city.
A little bit of life over here, people having a few drinks at this Café Deluxe. Why not? Beautiful day. I think basically this is the main street. This is where probably things come to life in the evenings. Obviously on a Sunday, everything's kind of closed. Even the gallery here is closed. Nice picture of a cow. I think we're going to zigzag these streets, but I think the first thing we're going to do is go check out this cathedral, as it's one of the main things to see in this city. Fancy a shady burger, 109 Swedish krona for a shady burger. Nice cobbled streets, all very well put together. Very, very beautiful actually. You can tell these cobbles over here are quite new. They've actually gone to the effort of not making a mess. There's streets in London that could look like this, but because we have Khan as mayor, streets in London look like a car crash. Lines of roadworks all up and down them. Anytime one gets dug up, they're not put back like this. They just look like a complete mess. Almost looks like an English pub, this one, the Bishop's Arms. But sadly, not very busy, if any, or even open, I'm not sure. Just to give you a perspective on house prices here, I know how they advertise them. They've got like the vendor, the realtor, pictures of the realtor. Then we've got the apartment, 2.4 million SEK. That is about £190,000 for what looks like 3 rooms. That might mean it's got 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, or it might mean it's got, I'm not sure. Usually that's how they say it. And this one's 2.2, so similar price, just probably about £185,000, $210,000 or so. And of course, what European town, because this really is a town, not a city, would be complete without the scooters. The scooters sort of laying around, waiting for people to use them. Depending on what part of the world you're in, they'd be chucked in the canals or on bonfires. But here they're neatly presented. So this cathedral, the main focal point of this town / city, is thought to be over 500 years old. Now let's go inside. I'll be as quiet as possible, but let's go and have a look.
Växjö Cathedral is the seat of the Bishop of Växjö within the Church of Sweden. According to legend, the cathedral was founded by Saint Sigfrid. Now, anyone who has familiarity with saints will know that Saint Sigfrid was a missionary bishop in Scandinavia during the first half of the 11th century. Saint Sigfrid was an Englishman from England. Saint Sigfrid is credited in late medieval king lists performing the baptism of the first monarch of Sweden, Olaf Skotkonung. He most likely arrived in Sweden soon after the year 1000 and conducted extensive missions in Gotland and Svedland. For some years after 1014, following his return to England, Sigfrid was based in Trondheim, Norway, a city close to my heart. Seriously beautiful city if you get a chance to visit. Sigfrid's position there became untenable after the defeat of Olaf Haraldsson. While in Norway, Sigfrid continued to participate in the Christianization of Sweden, to which he devoted the remainder of his life. According to Swedish and Icelandic tradition, he retired in Värmland, although Sigfrid later died in Växjö, and many think he's actually buried underneath this cathedral. So much so, Sigfrid's burial place in Växjö became the center of a cult. That cult no longer exists, but it was once a cult. He was canonized by the Pope in 1158, and he is remembered by not only the Church of Sweden, but the Church of England on the 15th of February every year. The first stone on this site was laid in the 1160s. Obviously, there's been a lot of alteration over the years. Restoration happened in the 1950s to what we see today.
Well, a phenomenally beautiful and very Swedish looking church. I love the pews, I love the sort of the simplicity of it. I wasn't too keen on what the organist was playing, but did you notice there was 3 organs in there? And I thought that was impressive. And then it's surrounded by this beautiful church, not beautiful church, it's surrounded by this beautiful park. Sweden in the summer is idyllic, especially in June, which is, you know, midsummer. Amazing. It's a good lifestyle when it's warm. Difficult in the winters, I find, Scandinavia. But you've got to be hardcore Viking to basically cope in the winter. The church originally was founded on the fact that back in the 11th century there was an angel of God that sort of marked this point as a place of religious symbolism, and they built a wooden church originally, and then sometime in the 15th century or 1500s this church was then built on the same spot that the wooden church was on, and it's then been here ever since. I tell you, you got a connecting flights. No reason to wait around the airport. As nice as the people at the airport are, and it is quite a nice little airport. Tiny. Some people have got living rooms bigger than that airport. I don't, but some people do. This park is stunning. So this is beautiful. The thing about summers in Sweden and Norway and Copenhagen and Finland, not Copenhagen, Denmark and Finland, Iceland as well, the summers are magnificent, because if you go slightly further north than here, you'll get 24 hours of sunshine in the peak summer. And it's perfect for these late summer evenings where you probably get to watch a play, get to listen to a musical performance. This is really peaceful. This is really, really nice. It's magnificent fungus. Amazing. I tell you, I was a little bit worried when I originally booked this ticket. I was thinking, I'm going to get to Sweden and it's going to be raining, isn't it? It's going to be rainy and it's not going to be too nice. Instead, I get treated to this phenomenal day to explore this beautiful city. Can't really go wrong, can we? You cannot go wrong. Sometimes the gods are on your side. Just in case you're wondering what these plants are, the Swedes like to tell you.
If you haven't clicked that subscribe button already, do give it a go. It really helps this small channel grow. Every time YouTube sees that someone's subscribed, there's a small chance that the superheroes that work at YouTube might think, hey, should we show this to one more person? I really appreciate it.
Now, I really wish I knew what this was. There's no Swedes in sight to quiz them about this. Superhero with a B, it looks like. Not sure what the utility belt symbolizes, but this is some sort of... Is this some sort of modernist atrocity? I think her shoes are on the wrong way. I don't know what this is. Modern feminism? I'm not sure. The park that surrounds the cathedral seems to be botanical gardens in a way. Every plant seems to be labelled. They take their gardening, their horticulture seriously here. And then we've got this very strange children's playground. I'm obviously not going to film it because there's children over here. A modernist take on the playground. Quite interesting. See, when I was flying in to this obscure little airport in Sweden, it was surrounded by lakes, and this being one of them. And this is one of the things that the Swedes and all Scandinavians love to do on a summer's day. They will spend the day sort of sat by the river, or they'll be swimming in the river. I'm surrounded by flies right now. In Norway, they would be eating the shrimp, and they'd be eating the shrimp with their feet dangling into the water. I'm not seeing anyone eating shrimp here. But people are very chilled out, relaxed, enjoying themselves. And I presume, if you were so inclined, you could walk around this entire lake maybe. Or maybe you can't, maybe it just keeps going on until you get to the sea. I'm not sure. I think it's well past my lunchtime. I'm going to go try and grab a refreshment. One of these probably upmarket bars or brasseries, however you like to say them, but what a perfect little location. Beautiful.
Like I always do.
Wow. Moment to recharge my phone here. Suddenly I can plug myself in. I got this amazing view over here. And I got myself some Slovaki and the local beer, Småland, I think. Brewed in 1856 to 1898, I think. I think that's what it means. It's pretty good beer. Really, really good. Well, I have to say that was a very pleasant lunch at 4 Klöga. I was told by the people there that the place to visit is the castle, which is all the way that way, and it's quite close to the student campus. And also, there's this Sweden's police academy that way. So all of the cops that you see around Sweden, they've passed through this town and they've been to the Swedish police academy. Well, many people at some point have passed through this town. One of the members of ABBA is from this town. So if you like ABBA, someone from ABBA's from this town. I don't know who. I have no idea. Found myself a bit of an international theme going on here. We've got African, we've got Polish, we've got Spanish back there. This is a sort of what you would call the market square, and I imagine this is probably the town hall. Local Thai. What I have noticed actually is a large number of non-Swedes here, and not because they're tourists. A lot of population, the expanding population, doesn't come from the Swedes breeding or the Swedes migrating here from elsewhere. It is the population has expanded because of the wokeness of Sweden. They've taken in a lot of new people, taken a lot of new arrivals, and it's showing in the fact that probably, similar to Ireland, the Swedes will be a minority in their own country within the next 2 decades, probably less. Just like the British will be a minority by 2066, the Irish will be a minority by 2050. It's almost like a United Nations here. Like we've got literally every country you can think of in the close proximity. And here we find ourselves back on the sort of main cobble streets, cross into the shadows, try not to get run over. SEB Bank, that's the Swedish bank. Interesting, since I arrived, the town centre has got a little bit busier. There were a few people sparse around, but as evening approaches and as my flight gets closer to leaving, the town centre gets a little bit busier.
Several times during the Northern Wars and the Scania Wars, and thereafter, the city was badly affected by fire. In 1277, 1516, 1517, 1612, 1658, 1690, 1749, 1753, 1799, 1838 and 1843. After the last fire of 1843, 1,140 citizens were rendered homeless. Then after, Växjö received its current street plan, which is very rigid, shall we say. Grid patterned and ordered is the present order, and let's hope there are no more fires. Although sadly, arson is prolific in the more diverse areas of Växjö. I didn't witness any problems, but if you look up the stats on Växjö, the police deem Växjö to be one of the most dangerous areas in Sweden, strangely, despite appearances, and suffers high crime rates in proportion to the rest of Sweden. My guess is this place is 1,000 times more safe than Los Angeles, San Francisco or Chicago, but as Sweden changes and becomes the grenade capital of Europe and the rape capital of Europe, you have to watch yourself.
Yeah, every voice I heard back there was speaking in English. Not English themselves, but the common language it seems to communicate here. If you're not from here, it tends to be English. Let's go up here. This looks quite pretty.
My hope is, since the September 22 election where the leftists were booted out of government, the right may actually step up and enable the Swedes to live in a more peaceful environment and stop with all of the woke policies that has really given the average Swede a serious headache. I only hope for the best for the Swedes and the Swedish people. May they emulate their Danish neighbours.
You have to give the Swedes some credit, though. The fact that their system didn't allow them to, despite a lot of pressure from the international community, to lock down during the pandemic. The Swedes, similar to Tanzania, just kept rolling. They're like, screw this, we're not going to shut down. Despite a lot of international pressure to shut down, because the Swedes were basically showing up other countries for doing the wrong thing. Countries couldn't put as much pressure on their people when people used the Swedes as reference. To be honest, it surprised me. I thought with the direction that Sweden was going, in the years before the pandemic, that Sweden would be one of those countries that would do a hard lockdown because it is run by a woke socialist government. But because of the way the government is structured, it didn't allow for the authoritarian, totalitarian measures to be implemented. As much as many people in the socialist government of Sweden wanted to lock down, they just couldn't get away with it because it wasn't in their sort of constitution to allow that to happen. And because of that, Sweden's GDP didn't suffer as greatly as most of the rest of Europe. Sweden didn't take on an extortionate amount of debt. And Sweden is suffering a little bit from the inflationary prices that the globe is suffering, but not to the extent that the rest of the globe is suffering. The Swedish krona hasn't collapsed to the degree that some other currencies have collapsed. Just goes to show, don't give your leaders too much power. Our local theatre, Växjö Theatre. This guy's Marcus Berglin and Jens Holten. And because it's Sunday, a lot of these places are closed. I imagine you come here Monday to Friday, it would be a completely different vibe. And also if you come here during the evening, it would be a very different vibe. A little bit empty on a late afternoon on a Sunday in June. Now this is a very pretty square. Not quite a square, but look, we've got this beautiful outside dining area. We've got this magnificent tree and these wonderful cobble streets. And you can see this is the main street, it seems. This street will take you all the way down to the cathedral, which we were at earlier. And then if you continue heading this way, you head out of the city, you head towards the more industrial area, the shopping mall, back towards the airport, which is where I will be going very soon. Definitely the main shopping street, without a doubt. Not much to see though. You want to spend more than a few hours in this town? Stay at a quality hotel over here. This is called the Quality Hotel Royal Corner. Fit for the Royals, definitely not Prince Andrew though. He's not welcome here. Quick sort of glance at what the Swedish supermarkets are like compared to where you are. We have this sort of pick and mix of nuts, raisins, chocolates, sweets, and then we got the standard fruit and veg. Fair amount of plastic packaging on the vegetables. And then the price of a beer, it's about £1, $1.50 for a beer or so. Yeah, not extortionate. You try buying these beers in Norway, different matter entirely. So what a lot of Norwegians will do is they cross the border to Sweden just to buy the alcohol because it's significantly cheaper here. But if you compare it to Eastern Europe or Spain, it is obviously more here. We really are fans of the pick and mix. Two types of pick and mix, the healthy kind and the less healthy kind. And I think that's it. I'm not going to get to go to any of the museums or explore the nightlife of the city. I've contributed a lunch, a beer and some water to the economy of this city. Also paid for the buses. Now I'm going to take myself off on one of these organic food-fueled buses and I'll head back to the airport and I will get my flight. I've got myself back to the airport. It's cost me 60 Swedish krona, 30 there, 30 back, to explore Växjö or Växjö. Yeah, it was a nice little city. I don't know if I'll be rushing back, but to be honest, everyone I met was very friendly. It's worth it. Suddenly the airport's got busy. When I departed here, there was no one here. And suddenly there must be flights in the evening. Airport gets going again. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you in the next video.